Hi everybody. All right, well, we're back. This one I feel like while I'm mapping it out is gonna look like a little string of conspiracy theories. That's what I'm thinking. All right, so I'm reviewing Welcome to Meadowbrook by Cassandra L. Thompson. And this is what the book looks like. The sides. It's another one of my Twisted Retreat books that I got. I don't remember what month I got it, because I have so many of them. It is a special edition cover, signed copy, the pretty sprayed edges, and like this one has like the gold ends. But it's called Welcome to Meadowbrook. The only thing was this one didn't have like a description really in it. When you read the praise for the author on the inside, you get a gist of what it's about. But it's basically about this building, this hotel slash casino slash asylum slash home for wayward girls slash wellness center called Meadowbrook. That's kind of stuck in like a liminal space. So like if you go into certain rooms or stairways or through water, you can time travel basically. And each part is a different character and how they end up traveling from their time to a different time. And like all their stories kind of intertwine, and there's one overarching like villain of the story as well. I thought it was interesting. I'll start with that. I liked it. I am not sure about the ending because well, and we'll get there, but I feel like the ending could either be this book is its own standalone, or there could be more. So let's get into it. Briar's gonna take a little break, semi off screen, and I had to take notes for this one, just because of the way it's written. I mean, I take notes on everything that I read just to make sure I don't miss any key points. But when I say I had to take notes, I had to like, for each character, I had to just briefly put down like the sequence of events that happened with them. So I will be looking at this a lot because it time jumps so much that I'm like, okay, let me write this shit down. So let's flip the board. And so we're gonna start. Personally, I think our main character is the hotel. So I am so bad at drawing, so bear with me on this. I'm gonna building, and it's like supposed to be like this super tall building that like looks like a giant castle basically. Like double doors will give it some windows, I guess. Very big manor, but it's supposed to be like giant. But our main character is Meadowbrook itself, and no matter what time you jump into, it's always called Meadowbrook something, and it's crooked as heck, but you know what, I do the best I can here, okay? And so our first character is in a prologue. We'll start her up here, and she's not there long. And her name is Theodora. And her time period is 1938. She is in a wellness center, and if I have it marked what they're actually in, I'll label it too, because this thing becomes so many different buildings throughout time that it's a lot to keep track of. But so She is the first person we read about, Theodora. And she's got an infected arm. You know what? For infection, let's use red. She has an infected arm, and she's at this wellness center, listening to the radio, listening to the doctor of this wellness center talking about how there's really no cure for cancer and they're tricking you. If they say they have the cure, they're lying. I'm the one with the cure, blah, blah, blah. And she gets pissed and like throws the radio she's listening to against the wall and breaks it. 'Cause she's like, fuck this guy. I've been here how long? My arm is getting slowly even more infected with every treatment that they do. When the hell is he going to fucking cure me? And a nurse comes in when she throws the thing, the radio, and she's like, God damn it, when is the doctor going to fucking fix me? And the nurse is like, the doctor will see you in the morning. And so she's like, yeah, okay, sure. Because at this point, she's just pissed. Her arm hurts. She's in pain. The pain meds aren't working because her arm's like infected and festering. Like it basically looks like it's going to fall off. And she's like, I've been here forever and it's not getting better. And so sometime in the middle of the night, these two like orderlies come in and they wheel her out and they're like, the doctor's gonna see you now. And she's like, in the middle of the night, what? She's like, this ain't right. And so the orderlies, they bring her to the basement level. She's like, what am I doing down here? He goes, these are just for the more sicker patients. The doctor doesn't want them on the same floor as the other patients, just not to, you know, just so they don't lose morale, creep them out. And she's like, but I'm not that sick. They're like, we know, sweetie, we know. Like, basically placating her, or placating. I had a lot of energy drinks today, so bear with me. Placating her and being like, no, you're not sick, you're not dying, and the doctor's gonna see you shortly. And she passes like all these cells of sick as fuck patients. Like these patients look like they're like one cough away from dying basically. And she's like, I'm not supposed to be here. And one of the orderlies looks like he feels bad for her and he's about to like take this rag out and knock her out. And the other dude's like, at this point, dude, it's not worth it. I'm like, damn, that's mean. So they put her in this like dingy, dirty ass room. There's no windows. Like it's just dank and nasty. And they're like, the doctor will see you shortly, and then leave. And the doctor never comes to see her. That's the end of Theodora. I don't think we ever, from my recollection of all these other pieces, we don't ever hear from her again. Actually, no. There's one part where I think it references her like briefly, but that's about it. And so now we jump to number 2, Matthew. And this is going to jump around really quickly. I'm going to do my best to like tell you guys everything and try to be as detailed and as interesting as possible with what I have. But I'm just telling you each part as it was written in the order. But as you are about to see the timeline, it's fucking wild. Matthew is from 1992, the year your girl was born. Matthew is a writer. Can't sleep, dying, apparently. Apparently he's dying. Like, it's not really disclosed if he really is dying, as much as maybe because of his lack of sleep, it's causing other health issues. Gotta be more careful. But Matthew is at this clinic wellness center because he's having trouble sleeping and he's apparently really sick and dying, but he's not acting like it. I'm gonna tell you that much. He's not acting like it. He's given a typewriter. And he's just journaling because he's having writer's block and he's afraid that if he doesn't actually use the typewriter, they're going to take it away. So he's just like, I'm just going to journal like what's happening and stuff. And it's the middle of the night. He can't sleep. It's like 3 a.m. and he gets a knock on this door from this girl. He opens it. This is girl, and she looks like she is basically anorexic. Like she's stick thin, like just clothes hanging off her body. And she's just like, hey, you got a cigarette? And he's like, yeah. Like, he doesn't really know what to do, because it's like 3 a.m. and he wasn't expecting someone to show up and ask for a cigarette. And she lets herself in and goes straight for his smokes. And he's like, hey, you're that actress. And she's like, hey, you're that writer. And he goes, you knew that? She goes, I snuck into the doctor's office and went through his files. He likes me. He doesn't mind. He tells me a lot of stuff about this place. And she just goes into like, did you know that this place used to be this, like listing off. It used to be like a Roman bath, used to be a wellness center, is kind of a wellness center now, used to be like a hospital for the mentally insane, like an asylum. It also used to be like a place for like wayward pregnant teenage girls to go to. It was set on fire once. Like, just giving him the history. And then she's like, hey, do you want to see the East Wing? And he's like, no. She goes, we should go exploring. You should see it. It has all of the original decorations, or like the original decor and like design from when Meadowbrook was originally built. And she's like, it's amazing. And he's like, can't sleep. Why not? So he goes with her, and she leads him. They like sneak through because, you know, apparently you shouldn't be out of your room at 3 a.m. But there's like nobody there. And that's what thing Matthew notices. He's like, where is everybody? And so he's feeling a little creepy, but Cindy's with him. So he's like, okay, I guess it's not that bad. And they go to this creepy, one of those old school elevators where you have to like pull a gate down type of thing. And he's like, I don't know about that. Like, everybody in this book who encounters the elevator, even when it's like the building's like brand new in its time period, they see that elevator and they're like, no. It's kind of funny. That's one of the constants in this, is everyone's like, fuck that elevator. But so they take the elevator and she leads him to the East Wing, which is blocked off. Like, you're not supposed to be in there because it's constantly and almost every time period going through renovations because of a fire that happened. And the owners who had it at the time couldn't fix it before they had to sell the building. But she takes him into that part of the hotel before they get to the East Wing, like the main lobby. And the main lobby is set up the way it used to be, like when it was the big grand hotel, like the big giant like welcome desk, like takes up almost the entire back half of the room. And it's got like all its old like gold design, like gilded designs and stuff. And it's really beautiful, Matthew thinks. And he's like, okay, this is pretty cool. And he sees Cindy go upstairs and he's still looking around. He's like, but bitch, where did you go? And so he goes up the stairs where he thinks she went, and he's just looking down all the halls like, fucking hello? Like, hello? And he sees a door that's kind of slightly ajar, so he thinks she had to have gone in there because all the other doors are closed. And he goes in there and he sees her lying on the bed, and he's like, yeah, hey, you should go back now. And then he looks at her again and he's like, he just starts screaming because he sees it's Cindy. She's in the clothes that she wore when she went to him and said, let's go exploring. But it's a decomposed body with like an old school, like a way back in the day type needle stuck in her veins. Like she had gone into that room and overdosed and died. It's a completely decomposed corpse dressed as Cindy. And he freaks out, he screams, he runs out, and he trips down the stairs. He falls down the stairs as he's running, and that's where his part ends, is him falling down the stairs, and then everything goes black. So, we're not off to a good start with Meadowbrook, as it is. And it doesn't get better. I'll just say that. Person number 3 is Olivia, and I feel bad for Olivia. I don't like that A. That A pissed me off. Olivia, and she is from 1985. So Olivia is a journalist who is having, they don't really explain what the mental issues are, but one thing it does say is she keeps seeing a woman in the wallpaper. And it's it happens after she reads, I know the name of the short story because I read it too, about a woman stuck in a yellow wallpaper. And like, it like completely drives her insane. She keeps thinking she's seeing a woman. I need to be consistent. What am I doing? Sorry, that was gonna bug me way more than it should have. But Olivia is seeing a woman in the wallpaper. It's kind of consuming her life. She takes a leave from work because she's not sleeping. She's not taking care of herself. Like, she hadn't bathed in apparently months at this point where we get to her story. And her hair's all greasy and matted and dirty. She's wearing the same robe that she's worn every day for months, and like she smells, and like she's just nasty and not taking care of herself because of this issue of seeing a woman in wallpaper. And her husband, who's kind of a dirtbag, but her husband and her dad conspire behind her back to send her to Meadowbrook, which at her time is still a wellness center for like celebrities who want to go get better discreetly without the public knowing, so they can stay out of the public eye. And they're saying, you have to do this. You're literally going to lose your job if you don't get better. And she knows she doesn't really have a choice. And she also noticed that her husband had started going to the gym again and like really trying to re-up his figure. So she's like, as soon as I leave, he's going to start fucking someone else. And she, at one point, in one part of her mind is mad as fuck about it. But in the other part, she's like, can I really blame him? Yes, I can actually. Like, she's pissed, but she goes. And it starts off, right away, it starts off pretty fucking bad. Like, first off, she gets there, and the nurse that greets her looks at her with just complete disdain. Like, ew, bitch, you dirty. You dirty. And they bring her to the East Wing. So normally patients don't stay in the East Wing because most of it is in disrepair and needing to be fixed. But the room that she's in is nice and pretty and looks like an actual room. But because of her status as like a famous journalist, her husband and her dad requested a more discreet room away from everybody else. So they said, we're doing you this favor. Here's this room. And as soon as she's alone, she notices part of the wallpaper is peeling. And her first instinct is to just rip that shit off. And I'm like, maybe you do have a problem, because that would not be my first instinct. I would, you know what? We're not even gonna talk about it. But, and she sees there's like a hole in the wall. And so the investigative journalist in her is like, I'm gonna look in that hole. And she takes out like a roll of paper, and it's typed letters or journals from someone named Matthew. And he's talking about, they're telling me I didn't see what I saw, and that it was all in my head, but I know what I saw. She was alive one moment, and then she was dead. They're saying there's no actress by the name of Cindy Warren, I think was her last name. They're telling me that that actress never existed. I think I'm losing my mind. I'm gonna keep investigating though, because I know something's up. And before she can finish reading, the nurse comes back in and sees the wallpaper torn, Cindy or Olivia reading these notes, and she's like, what the fuck? You've been here all of 2 minutes. And so she takes the papers from her, and Olivia's like, bitch, I was reading that. And the nurse is like, we put you in this room as a favor. Don't go tearing our shit up. And like, she has a neighbor apparently who is in the room next door named Lucy, who is like, I'll watch over her for you. Don't worry. Sweet angel, sweet angel. And Lucy puts the wallpaper back up and she's like, you'll be fine. Just knock on the wall if you need anything. And Olivia's like, whatever. And so the next morning, Olivia meets our doctor, Mr. I'm just going to put him right here. Harold Dobby, because he comes up a lot. Meets him, and they start talking about why she's there and blah blah blah, and he's like, can I show you something? And she's like, oh, okay. So they go on a little tour of the hospital, and she can tell he's very proud of it. Like, he loves this place, and it's like his pride and joy. And he takes her into the basement of the hospital, where a whole like Roman bath has been set up. And she's like, wow, this is pretty impressive. And he was like, yeah, it was boarded over for a time. They tried to make it a bowling alley. Can you believe that? We tore up all the boardings. We used the original blueprints and turned it into a Roman bath. Did you know that water's, like, it's going to have some really healing properties? And, like, the people of Meadowbrook, the little town over, they think that the springs up there have, like, actual magical healing properties. And she's like, okay, whatever. All right. And so she's like, all right. And he goes, all right, time to start your first treatment. And she's like, I'm sorry, what? She doesn't really like water from having like a near drowning experience a few years ago. She doesn't really like being in water. And he's like, well, your first treatment is the bath. And she's like, I don't really want to. And he's like, are we going to have a problem? And she's like, I guess not. And then Lucy shows up with a bunch of towels and stuff. And Lucy's going to administer her treatment. So Mr. Dobby leaves her. Olivia's like, this is kind of fucking stupid that I have to do this against my will, but whatever. She changes out of her clothes. Lucy's pouring like lavender or something into the water to help relax Olivia. And Olivia gets in the water and Lucy's just kind of like, just relax, blah, blah, blah. And she puts her feet in the water next to Olivia. She's like giving her a massage. And like Olivia's body is getting slowly more and more relaxed to the point where she's like, oh, wait a minute. I can't move. What the fuck? And Lucy's like slowly pushing her below the water. And she's like, you know what? He likes you because you remind him of Lisette. And then she's like, he loved me once too. And she's just pushing him, or pushing Olivia below the water. And then as the water is like covering her head, Mr. Dobby, or Harold, as we'll keep calling him, because okay, if I keep saying Dobby, I'm going to think of Harry Potter. But Harold shows up and Olivia watches them as the water covers her and then fades, it like fades to black basically. So again, not starting off great here with all the people. And now, person number 4 is Cindy. And Miss Cindy is from 1975. I told you, this thing's timeline jumps around so much that, yeah, I'm glad I took notes. I would have never remembered all of this by heart. Cindy is this Cindy. So this Cindy is the one that met that one. Right off the bat. Yeah, so this Cindy and these two have interacted, but it doesn't specify when in this point. So Cindy, she is an actress who's done mostly like TV shows and small commercials and stuff, but she's also addicted to drugs and alcohol. And she is at the point where it's so bad that she's about to lose her acting career because of it. So her agent books her a room at Meadowbrook Wellness Center. So one of the big things is Meadowbrook is always like some sort of healing place. So once again, it's like a hospital. It's like the Meadowbrook, it's a rehabilitation center when she goes. Actually, not a wellness center, a rehabilitation center. So Cindy goes, and it's literally, again, it's the first fucking night. None of these people make it past the first night when they check in. From my recollections, like, yeah, none of these people fucking make it past the first night when they check in. It's wild. But so she checks in and she's bored at night and decides, I'm gonna go explore. 'Cause why the fuck not? So she's roaming the halls and she sees the elevator and she's gonna get on the elevator, but there's a fucking creepy ass woman on the elevator just smiling at her. And she's pressed all the buttons on the elevator. So Cindy just kind of leaves the elevator and is like, I'm cool on that. I'm gonna take the stairs. So, and I thought that was funny because that's such like a normal reaction. I would have done the same. Because no. So she takes the stairs and she starts to feel like she's been walking down these stairs for quite some fucking time. And then all of a sudden she just like trips and falls and lands really hard in like darkness, and she like goes, ah, fuck. And like this little boy pops up out of nowhere and goes, that's not how a lady should talk. And she's like, the fuck did you come from? And he's like, hey, do you know what year it is? And she's like, what? He goes, you're not that much help. He goes, well, one thing I've learned is if you get lost, look for a door with that symbol. And there's like a door. So there's like the stairwell door, and then there's a little bit of a smaller door that has like a symbol carved on it. He goes, if you ever need to get back to where you need to be, go through the door with that symbol on it. You'll be good to go. And she's like, thanks, Chief. And then she goes through the stairwell door, and she's immediately confused because when she goes through the stairwell door, she's not in the rehab center. She's in a dead-ass hospital. And she's like, what? Like, she's disoriented, confused, whatever. And like these two orderlies come up to her, and she's like, I need to call my agent. What is going on here? And they're like, are we gonna have a problem, ma'am? And she's like, what are you talking about? He goes, ma'am, you need to go back to your room. She goes, no, I want to call my agent. Can I please use the phone? They're like, ma'am, you don't have phone privileges yet. And she goes, the hell I don't. And this nurse named June comes up and goes, gentlemen, it's okay, I got this. And June kind of takes Cindy by the arm and is like, sweetie, come with me now. Let's go get you checked out. You have a nasty bump on your head. And she fell. And so they go, she's walking with her, and Cindy's like, I don't know what's going on here, but I really would like to call my agent. And Cindy's like, you don't have phone privileges right now, sweetie. And Cindy's like, what the fuck is going on? And so Cindy ends up being put, like, she throws a fit when this other nurse shows up and is like, she doesn't need to go to the fucking hospital, to the like medical ward. Put her back in her room. Put a fucking band-aid on her. And Cindy's like, now you listen here. I am an actress and I want to talk to my agent. And so the two orderlies come back up and like they drug her and put her back in a hospital bed, and they think she's someone else. So she's sharing a room with someone who's like, you're not my roommate. Huh. But everyone else thinks she's this person's roommate. And Cindy's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. But they also do some shock therapy treatment on her. So she's like drugged up and, you know, her brain is a little frizzled. So she's just lying there like, dude, what the fuck? And then afterwards, when she's finally able to leave her room, she goes exploring and goes to the common center, like the common area. And she finds out that it's fucking 1967. And she's like, I beg your finest pardon. What? Because remember, it was 1975 when she got to Meadowbrook. Then she went, and now somehow she's in 1967. She's like, this is not fucking happening. Like, the news is showing all shit that happened in 1967. The newspaper the nurse is reading, it says this date 1967. And she's like, what the fuck is going on? She goes, maybe I really am losing my shit. Maybe I actually died and this is just some weird version of like hell or something. Like, she's going through the works. And then she just has this brief memory of what the little boy said about doors. So she like makes a beeline for the stairwell, and she gets back into the stairwell, and then again it's just falling into darkness. So hers ends with her like thinking she's like Alice falling down the rabbit hole, basically. And that's how her part ends. A lot of people falling into darkness in this. So our next person number 5 is Randall. And for Randall, it is good old 1969, apparently. Randall, this poor dude, he's just looking for a job. They need like a bouncer type job at a casino. So Meadowbrook is a casino for him. So let's see. We have wellness center, wellness. Why did I write wellness like that? Whoa. Let's label these in different colors so that we can track it. All right, so for Theodora, it's a wellness center. For Matthew, it is also a wellness center. For Olivia, it was like a discreet hospital. For Cindy, it was a hospital, mental ward. It was a mental hospital. And for Randall, it's a casino. So Randall's supposed to be doing like security work and also being like undercover security to catch people like cheating and stuff. And they give him the job like on the spot. They're like, okay, yeah, you're hired. You're allowed to like drink. We need you to blend in so that people don't know that we're on to them trying to catch them cheating and stuff. So he's like, cool, bet. So he's just exploring. He's exploring the area. He's like, I got to get familiar with my surroundings since I'm going to be working here. So he's just exploring the area, and he sees these people going up to a private floor, and he's thinking, that's probably where the blackjack room is. That's where a lot of cheating happens. So he decides to follow these people to this private room. And this part was really weird to me, and like it seemed really out of pocket or like out of left field, because like it's never, no one else, like none of the other characters ever talk about it, or it doesn't happen or get referenced anymore, but it's just a random fucking room where a guy is tattooing people. And Randall's like in there, and they think he's the next appointment, and Randall's like, wow, am I really dedicated to this job that I'm about to just sit down and get a tattoo, or can I just leave? Like he's not sure. Like in his head he's like, should I just leave? Do I get the tattoo? Is this legal? Are they supposed to be doing this here? Like he's going through all this stuff in his head. And then during his interview he was told that some guy, some nut job, as the interviewer phrased it, tried to set Meadowbrook on fire, and that's why the East Wing was always fucked up in every other one of these, because some crazy dude said that the place needed to be destroyed and was trying to try to set it on fire. It didn't work, obviously. So all of a sudden Randall, who's had like a drink or two while he's exploring, all of a sudden he like, it's almost the way it read, because it happened so fucking quickly, was like he blinked and all of a sudden the room was like burnt to all hell. Like there were burnt bodies, like the room had looked like it had been on fire, and like had been on fire for a while, and then the fire went out type of thing. And it was like horrifying, and he started screaming, and he ran out the room, and he bumps into this dude who just looks like a hot fucking mess, psychotic as fuck. And this dude is like, hey, don't worry, I'm gonna set this place on fire. And like, I don't remember. Okay, so this part, the reading of it was really confusing. If this dude just kind of, I say this dude, but guys, it was fucking Matthew. Matthew was the one who tried to set the place on fire. But he's like, I got this. This place needs to burn, and I'm gonna burn it down. But then all of a sudden it like time jumps again, and Matthew's dead. And Randall's like, oh my god, this place really is fucking, this place is evil. This place is insane. And he takes like the lighter from Matthew's dead body. He's like, don't worry, my friend, I'll finish what you started. And that's what Randall's part ends on. And I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, okay, well, that fucking happened. And now we get to person number, there's so many people in this. Person number 6 is Ms. June, and it's 1954. And for her, it's just a hotel. And her part is really quick. So for June, she and her husband have been driving for a while, and they're tired and they need a place to stay. However, for them, it's been really hard to find a place because they are black in 1954. And when they find Meadowbrook, her husband was told about this place, but she's like, it's not in the Black Traveler's Guide of a safe place to stay. And he's like, that thing's outdated anyway. And as soon as they get to Meadowbrook, she's got a bad feeling right off the bat. She's also 2 months pregnant at the time. Let me give her a little 2-month preggo belly. She's also 2 months pregnant at the time, and her husband doesn't know yet. She hasn't told him yet. But they get to the hotel. She sees the hotel, and she immediately is like, something ain't right about this place. And the only person that's there is Harold. And he's like, I literally just bought the place. There's no staff here yet, but you guys are welcome to stay in one of the rooms that's already fixed up if you'd like. And they're like, yeah, we just need to stay for the night. Well, her husband's like, we just need to stay for the night. And she's like, do we though? Do we though? And so Harold brings them to a room, and he's like, you guys should eat. You especially, ma'am, you really do need to eat, don't you? And she's like, how the fuck does he know? Like, she don't like the situation at all. Like, she's like, something ain't right here. I don't like it. But her husband's like, you're being really ungrateful. He even offered to cook for us and all of that. Like, what is wrong with you? And she's like, I'm just tired, I guess. Like, she don't really know what to say. And he's like, I'm gonna go down to the kitchen and grab us something to eat. She's like, fine, whatever. She's just like, I don't want to be here. We're only staying one night. Like, she's like, I don't like this place. Something is wrong with this place. So while she's in her room by herself, she looks out into like her view, and there's like this big pool, which at one point must have looked amazing, but now it's got like black, murky, dark, disgusting water, and she's like, that's nasty. But she looks again, and she thinks she sees like kids' arms flailing in the water, and she's like, oh fuck. And so she runs out of her room and runs all the way downstairs. Like, she runs all the way out to the pool, and she tries to grab like the arms, like she can see arms in the water, and she tries to grab them and pull him out, but something pulls her in instead. And so her part ends with going into water and looking up and seeing darkness. The theme is darkness. Written in pink. The theme is darkness, apparently. Fading to black. So that's how June's part ends. Now, number 7. Not lucky number 7. Unfortunately for this guy. Well, unfortunately for a lot of them. Mr. Tommy. Tommy Pickle. Not Tommy Pickle. So, Tommy is a musician who's done really well for himself. Is in a marriage with a woman that he, in his own words, does not love or care about. Has been married to her for a very long time. He's gone to Meadowbrook, and it's just a nice fancy hotel for him too. So it's a hotel for him as well. Let me do my spacing. I'm pretty sure I can make all of it fit. Okay, so it's a hotel for him as well, and he's there to unalive himself. He's tired of living. He doesn't want to live anymore, and he just wants to end it. So he tries to by taking a bunch of pills and then getting in the bathtub and just kind of, you know, dying in the tub. Unfortunately for him, water is one of the ways to travel through time. In fact, it's one of the main ways to travel through time in Meadowbrook. So when he comes out of the tub, everything seems normal, but at the same time he's like, something ain't right. When he got there, the place had basically been abandoned. There weren't really any guests. When he goes out of his room, the place is popping. Like, there are people filling the lobby. He can hear people in the rooms. There's like a party going on in like the main, like, big room down on the first floor and stuff. And apparently it's this party for this club called the 27 Club. So he goes back to, I think it's 1927 is what they called it, and it's New Year's Eve, and they're throwing a New Year's bash, and he meets, so Tommy meets Olivia. So Olivia is bitter as fuck at this point. She's been stuck here, like Harold is making her pretend to be his wife and some shit like that, and she's just pissed, and she doesn't want to be here anymore. She tells Tommy this place is like a time, you can time travel here, and as long as you time travel, you never age. And so this party, the 27 Club party, is all these rich people who pay to be here perpetually in 1927, I think is what it was, and to basically never die. So their New Year's Eve, they throw this party, and then it, like, the cycle resets or something. So Olivia's like, but I'm done. I found a way out, and I'm just going to leave and finally live my life. I'm not even going to go back to my time period. I don't have shit for me there anyway. I'm just going to leave. And he's like, more power to you. Bet. And at first he's like, yeah, I'm going to join you. And this is before he meets Harold. So she's convinced him that Harold is this awful man doing all these awful things. And yeah, he is awful. We're just going to point that out right now. He is awful. And so he goes back to the party and he meets Harold. And like, Harold's like, did she tell you that whole story about how I'm so awful and making her stay here with me, blah, blah, blah. And Harold kind of wins Tommy over. And so Harold does his big New Year's speech. He goes, and I have something else to talk to you guys about. He goes, my darling wife, Olivia, has betrayed me. And they're like, oh my God. And so he brings Olivia on stage and she just looks pissed. And he goes, and I would like to set an example and show you guys what happens when you try to screw me over. And so he brings out this box, this coffin basically, and there's someone pounding on the inside, and they open it and there's another Olivia in it. So basically what happens is, if you end up in a time period where there's another you and you guys see each other, one of you dies, but it's not certain who will, just one of you will die. So the two Olivias look at each other, they're like, ah, and then one of them, it doesn't say which one of them's head explodes. And that's how Tommy's part ends. These people are just not having a good go of it, is what I'm saying. Is what I'm trying to tell you here. Alright, so next person is Michael. Person number 8. Michael. And Michael is investing in Meadowbrook with a friend. So right now it's a rundown hotel and they're supposedly buying it from a Mr. Harold Dobby. Michael and his friend Ralph are investing in it and buying it, and they're trying to use it as a place for, like, using it as a casino, a place to wash their money basically. And so they meet Mr. Dobby, and Mr. Dobby's like, yeah, I can have my lawyers, like, draft up paperwork and stuff for, like, next week. And Ralph is like, no, we need this done tonight. Mr. Dobby's like, okay, fine, I guess. You guys have to stay the night here, though. And Michael's like, I don't want to, god damn it. But they stay. And Michael, so it's Michael, Ralph, and then they brought their own lawyer, and they nicknamed Mouse. They're all staying the night, and Michael, because these guys are the guys are crooks. The guys are criminals. They're using this place as like a, yeah, they're using a place as basically like a front. And they want to turn into a casino, use it as a front to wash their money and shit. And he is like, oh shit, I left my gun in the car. He goes, well, I probably should keep it just in case. Oh yeah, this is 1946. Sorry, guys. He's like, I should go get it. I should go get it. So he leaves the room to go get his gun. And he starts roaming. Like, he leaves the room and somehow fucking gets lost. And ends up going through a door and ends up in a time period that's not his. And he gets, like, smacked upside the head. Like, he follows, it's Lucy from Olivia's part. He's following Lucy because he thinks Lucy wants to sleep with him because this man is like a fucking hound dog. So he's following Lucy because he thinks Lucy wants to sleep with him. And he gets knocked upside the head, and when he wakes up, he's strapped to a bed, and he realizes he's in a morgue. And Harold's there, and Harold and Lucy are there, and Harold is like, you guys can't have my hotel. You guys, like, the hotel chose me. You can't have it. So Harold turns to Lucy. He's like, take care of him, and he leaves. And Lucy's like doing her own little villain monologue about how the hotel actually chose her and she's going to be the rightful owner, and and she's sorry about this, but he's in the way, and she puts him in one of the big freezers. And she's like, oh, and I'm sorry about your friends too. And this man looks to his side and sees both Ralph and Mouse, his friends that went with him, are both their faces are frozen, screaming in terror, and they've been frozen to death as well, and he's about to be too. So that's how his part ends. And I'm like, man, no one in this is having a good break. Nobody. This is depressing. And this one, okay, this one for me is the weirdest. This is May, I think is how her name is pronounced, and it's 1931. And May has an interesting story. So she is this little girl who is at this, it's kind of like an orphanage. It's like an orphanage / place for wayward girls to go, or they send the freaks or the rejects. May is mute. And May has this woman. You know what? It can be creepier. I'm just going to put a big face. May has this woman called the Smiling Woman that's always with her. But no one else can see her. And I had so many questions about this that were not answered. But May has this woman called the Smiling Woman that's always with her. No one else can see her, and the Smiling Woman protects her. So there was at one point these men that tried to sexually assault May while she was living with her mom at a brothel, and the Smiling Woman basically skinned them alive. Then May is living at the, we're just going to say orphanage, because I don't really know how to describe it. She's living at this place, and the other girls make fun of her or tease her because she's mute. Because she's mute, they tease her a lot. And one of the girls trips her while she's leaving the bathroom, and May chips her tooth on the bathroom sink. And instead of telling the headmistress lady what, or writing out what happens or anything, she doesn't say anything. And so the other girls are teasing her and making fun of her and stuff. And the Smiling Woman shows up and attacks the girls, and May leaves while it's happening because she don't want to see that. And she does this thing where she explores. She does this thing where she explores the grounds, because there's not really much else for her to do. She doesn't have any friends, just the Smiling Woman. And so while she's exploring, she finds the servants' tunnels. And she's going through those, and she runs into this dude, because she accidentally time hopped. She runs into this dude who looks dirty and psycho as fuck, and it's like, hey, do you have any matches? Do you have any lighters? I gotta burn this place down. Don't you worry, I'm gonna burn it down. And I'm pretty sure this time it's Randall finishing Matthew's job. So she freaks out. She runs again, and then she runs into a woman named Lisette, who's like, don't you worry, dear, I'll take care of you. And that's where May's part ends. Nothing about the Smiling Woman. I had so many questions about that. I wanted a story just about that. Because, excuse you? Creepy Smiling Woman killing people for you? I need more. I need to hear more about that. But nope. We're moving on to number 10. Helen. And Helen is from 1921. And Helen is the caretaker of the girls at Meadowbrook Home for Wayward Girls. So Helen is the caretaker for these girls at Meadowbrook's Home for Wayward Girls. Funding is really low, and there's a bunch of nuns there trying to get money from, or trying to evaluate the place and see if they'll get funding from the diocese, I think it's what it's pronounced. Basically funding from the church to keep Meadowbrook open. And Helen finds this little boy hiding in the kitchen pantry, and he looks like one that he's been beat to nearly death. He looks like he's got pneumonia. His skin is blue from being so cold, and she's like, how the fuck did he get here? Kids aren't allowed here. the girls, if they have children from like teen pregnancy and stuff, those kids aren't allowed there. And it's the middle of a storm. So she's like, how did he get here? But her first instinct is, I have to take care of him, because she's had several miscarriages in her past. And like her motherly instinct was like, I have to take care of this boy, make sure he doesn't die. So that's what she does. She sneaks him to her room, gets him some warm clothes, gets him some food, and like he slowly starts to get better. And she's like, do you have a name? And he goes, I guess not. And she goes, I'm gonna call you Harold. So Helen has met Harold and becomes his kind of de facto mom. We'll put that right there. So this is where we first get Harold Dobby as a kid, basically. And so it's like a year passes, and Harold's like, she hides him in the room. The other, like, the girls find out and they keep her secret and they help take care of him and like bring him books to read and stuff. And he's always reading, always researching. She notes that sometimes he'll disappear for a couple days at a time and she doesn't think anything of it, but we know what he's doing, and all of that stuff. And she eventually one day she gets told that the diocese, the church, they're not going to fund Meadowbrook. In fact, they're going to take the girls and go start an establishment closer to town. And Helen is just heartbroken because she loves those girls, but she's not going with because she's the caretaker of the hotel. And so the day that the girls are leaving, one of the nuns is like, one of the girls, Lucy, is missing. And if you have anything to do about it, we're going to report you. But when you do find her, you let us know because she has to come with us. And Helen's like, back the fuck up. Like, wait a minute. And Harold went on one of his little adventures and hasn't come back yet either. But that night, Lucy shows up and immediately Helen's like, what? Because Lucy looks older, like by like 10, 15 years. Lucy looks older. She's like, I'm not understanding this. And then she sees Kid Harold. But as soon as she sees him, he immediately gets murdered by a tall black man. And she's like, what the fuck? And then she faints, and when she comes to, there's a grown-up Harold with her, and Harold's like, I got a lot to explain. And he tells her everything, and at first she's like, what the fuck? But then she's looking at them like, well, they are older. Okay, and so she jumps on board right away. She's like, all right, I'm in. I don't know what it is, but I'm in. I'm like, all right, Helen. And that's where hers ends. She's just like, all right, I'm there. All right, and so person number 11 is Percy. I'm running out of space for people. I'll figure it out. And Percy, 1910. Percy is June's child. Percy and June, they live in hospice. So they live in the hospital. June works there as a nurse. And Percy, he's just exploring. And June tells him, don't go too far. The hospital will it'll take you from me. And like, he knows this. They've time jumped several times at this point. And like, he knows that his father is out there trying to find them also and all that. He accidentally time jumps to a period where, black people are basically lynched all the time, and he's a kid and he witnesses these guys kill a black man, and they're chasing him now, and he's hiding at first, and he gets found by May, who, and it's their conversation is frustrating because Percy's deaf, May is mute, May can sign, but her English is really bad. So he's like, and his talking is bad, is like not good because he can't hear how he's pronouncing. But he's like, so you can sign, but you can't speak the language. And she's like, nope. And he's like, okay. Like, it's confusing. They're able to communicate, and she takes him to someone named Lisette, the woman that saved her before. And Lisette's like, I can get you back to your mom. you obviously know about this place and what it does. There's something you need to do for me, though. And she's like, I need you to kill Harold before he becomes an adult. And Percy's like, what? And she's like, yeah, if you kill Harold, then none of the bad shit that's happened will happen. The hotel has picked me to be its mistress. If you kill him, everything will be fine. You can go back to your mom and it'll all be good. And so at first Percy's like, fine, yeah, I'll do it. Because he wants to get back to his mom. It's just been him and his mom for years. And he just wants to get back to his mom. So he sets out, and immediately he's being chased by these men again. And Kid Harold saves him. And when Percy realizes who it is, he's like, I'm supposed to kill this guy. But then him and Harold start talking, and Percy starts to like Harold even more. So Harold's character, when you read him, when you read his interactions with everybody, he's very charismatic. He's very able to get you to be on his side. Even if you were first agreeing with other people like Lisette, or if you agreed with Matthew and like Randall, or if you felt bad for Olivia, if you feel bad for June, he's really good at getting people to want to be on his side. So Percy ends up just working with him instead. He's just kind of like, yeah, fuck Lisette, and is working with Percy instead. Or with Harold. He just fucking turncoat so fast. He was like, all right, cool, I'm with you now. And so now we have number 12, Lisette's story. Lisette is from 1889, so way back when. I'm going to try and make them all fit, so bear with me. Because I've got 2 left after this. But, so Lisette, I kicked my camera. I'm so sorry, people. So Lisette, it literally starts off with her saying she fucking hates her sister. Like, that's our first impression of Lisette, is that she fucking hates her sister. So Lisette is the oldest, and so as the oldest in this time period, she should have been the one being married off to a very rich man and being set for life and all that shit. But the first man she was supposed to marry was some nasty old wrinkled dude who died before they could get married. And then same with the second dude, he died at their engagement party. And so she is a 2 times over widow now, even though both times they never married. But so now her sister Lucy, all of a sudden, she became like, she grew into her body, became this super pretty girl, and her dad started focusing on her instead of Lisette and marrying her off to somebody. And so Lucy got engaged, or like this, like the world's rich, like America's richest man apparently, just proposed to her. And so Lisette's sitting here like, I've been here this whole time, are you fucking serious? But this dude's America's richest man proposed to Lucy instead. And so her dad is all about I think her sister's name is Lucy. We're just going to call her sister. So dad is all about sister, because sister's the one that is about to have them set for life, even though they are also really rich. And for them, it's also a hotel. It's a newly renovated hotel. It's like super fancy, and like their dad put in like the elevator, and it's like a new thing, like electricity is like the new hot thing right now and stuff. So the electric elevator is new. Lisette hates it. A lot of people, okay, so again, the elevator, I'm just gonna put it, I'm gonna put it right here. Everyone hates the elevator. Yeah, the elevator, everybody, like, she's unsettled with it. Some other people are a little nervous about it. Other people are like, wow, this new thing, this is so cool. But she's like, fuck that elevator, but she has to ride it. Like, she has to go up to her room with it, 'cause they have the fancy rich people rooms above the hotel, the penthouse suites. And so she's decided that she's no longer in mourning of her other husband, even though she has like 2 or 3 weeks left where she should be just being all black all the time. And so it's like her sister's engagement party or some shit like that, and she decides instead of wearing all black like she's supposed to, she's gonna wear a fucking cream white dress, and it like is super low cut and revealing and stuff. And before that happens, her dad announces her sister's engagement, and everyone's like, oh yeah, hoorah. And she meets her dad's lawyer, Harold Dobby. And Harold's like, can we have this dance? I have a proposition for you. And she's like, back off, peasant. But ends up dancing with him anyway, because she's like, oh, well, I'm bored and intrigued. And he tells her, he's like, if you agree to help me, I have a plan that will make you the richest woman in the world. And you won't have to worry about your dad or your sister or anyone. Pause. His wording. Like, I would have focused on his wording, but I'm not a sister who hates my other sister, so whatever. But so she's like, what do you mean? She's like, I don't have time for this. But he's like, think about it. If you agree to help me, I will make sure you are the richest woman. And she goes, well, what do you want out of this? Because she's like, obviously you're not doing this for funsies. And he's like, I just want the hotel. She's like, this hotel? This one right here? Really? You want this? He goes, yep, all I want is the hotel. She's like, okay. So she gets down to the engagement party. She makes sure she's the last one to show up. This bitch is petty. So she's the last one to show up. She's fucking wearing white, like a off cream white at her sister's engagement party. And she goes up to her dad and her sister and a bunch of other people, and her dad and her sister look at her like, bitch. And then one of their guests is like, darling, you look amazing, but aren't you still in mourning? And she's like, no, my mourning period is over. They're like, well, you look amazing. And like her dad and her sisters have to play along like, yes, doesn't she just look so good? And then her dad's like, I gotta go. And like he goes and gives his speech, and she's like, yeah, that's right, I pissed him off. And so while he's giving this speech, she sneaks off. She sneaks off with her maid, Lucy. Okay, so the sister's name is not Lucy. The maid's name is Lucy. Yeah, Lucy. Who's shown up how many times now? Lucy. She's shown up several times now. Because she's married to Harold secretly. I forgot to mention that. I am so sorry. Helen finds out that Harold and Lucy actually got married while they time jumped and then came back when they looked like they were older. They got married. And she's just been helping him do all this shady shit in different time periods. But, so she meets Harold in a church, and Harold's standing there with a fucking priest, and this priest looks scared as fuck to be there. We'll explain. But she's like, are you fucking serious? He goes, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. I've written up the documents, and once this happens, I promise you, everything I promised you, you'll have. And Lucy, she must be bitter because, like, they're technically married. Like, so Lucy and Lisette, I think Harold's just a hoe. That has to be the reason. But so she agrees and they marry, and like the priest says, you may now kiss the bride, and she said it was like describes it as a sloppy kiss. Like he's never kissed a girl before or something. And so they're married now, and Harold's like, all right, it's time to go. And she's like, I'm sorry, time to what? And so as they're leaving, he goes, quick, get in the carriage. She looks, and the first thing she notices, the fucking hotel's on fire. She's like, what? And like more specifically the east wing where her and her parent, her father and her sister, where their rooms are, is on fire. And she's like, oh my god, all my shit. She's not literally, she's like, my stuff, not oh my god, my dad, my sister, no, my stuff. And Harold's like, I already had all your stuff packed, it's in the carriage, let's go. And she's like, what what's happening? And then the priest is like, don't go with him. He's a devil. Don't do it. And, no, they don't go into a carriage. They go into the elevator, the fucking elevator that she thinks is so goddamn creepy. He's pulling her towards the elevator. And the father is like, the priest, he's like, don't do it. Don't do it. He's the devil. And she's like, and I'm the devil's bride, or I'm the devil's wife. And I'm like, all right, she made her choice. So the elevator door opens up, and her sister's headless body falls out of the elevator. And she's like, that's my sister. And Harold, I shit you not, just kicks the body out of the way. So the fact that her head was missing has me thinking like he did the thing where he took her to a different time where she saw herself and one of them died, but I don't know what happened to the other one. That, or she got like mutilated, I think, in some way in a panic trying to get out of the fire and somehow got like beheaded is what happened. But her piece ends with them going down the elevator, because remember, the elevator takes you down to the Roman baths where the water is, and water is the quickest way to time travel. So that's where her part ends, and that's how we know why Lisette thinks the hotel should be hers, I guess, is because of all this. Her part's not that explained. It's just that over time, she grew to resent Harold. He's like, he promised me all these things, and I got none of it. He promises and promises and promises, and never delivers, and she's just getting bitter about it. And she's like, Meadowbrook needs a new mistress. I am Meadowbrook's mistress. And it's like, y'all, stop. And so that's how her part ends. And it's like, okay, whatever, bitch, you're just as bad as Harold. Let's just be real here. You're just as bad as Harold. And so person number 13 is Harold. And I don't know where to put him. So I've got two other people, but they'll go down here because they're the epilogue. But Harold Dobby. Number 13. Wow, that was a really dramatic 3. Hold on, I can do this better. I can do this better. Number 13. Sorry, May. And we're just going to put Harold. Make it easier. And Harold, it's 1865, and Harold is but a boy. And for him, it's also going to be a rundown hotel when he gets to that point. So I'll just put it right here. Run down hotel. But for him, his story starts out really fucking sad, but there's only so much sad that you can excuse for his behavior with all of this. But he's but a boy. He's like, what, 9 or 10, I think it is. And his mom died from sickness. His sister then also died from that same sickness. His dad is an abusive alcoholic. So his dad, for some reason, blames him for the death of his mother. Harold ended up having to bury both his mom and his sister by himself while his dad drank himself into a stupor. And then his dad would just beat the fuck out of him every night. And they live in a little town called Meadowbrook. Now, Meadowbrook used to be just this small, quiet, little tiny town. Kind of like a, I don't want to say Puritan town, because they definitely, well, I'll say it kind of like a little small Puritan town, but then for certain reasons, maybe pagan town. I'm not going to get too hung up on it, okay? So, this small little town is starting to get a lot more new, like, outsiders coming, because one of the bigger towns that's not that far from them is building a railroad going right through the springs that are close to Meadowbrook because of the water there. And so a lot of Chinese immigrants are coming to work on this railroad, and Little Meadowbrook doesn't like that. The people there, they do not like this. They don't trust the outsiders. Plus, they look completely different from them. They're like, we don't like this at all. Plus, apparently, when the Chinese workers showed up is when apparently people started getting really sick. But Harold is like, actually, when the snow starts thawing around this time is when a lot of people, when we always get sick, but a lot of people keep dying from this sickness, and eventually almost all of the kids die from the sickness too, and it was easy for them to just blame the Chinese workers. They're like, fuck those guys, they're the ones who did it. But there was always like a space, so like the Chinese workers never like tried to like interlope into Meadowbrook, so there was kind of like an unsteady peace between the two, or like a tension where it's like, if you don't come over here, we're cool type of thing. But then more workers came, and these workers were Irish, and for some reason that just pushed Meadowbrook over the edge. They were like, okay, nope, Chinese we can do, but Irish, fuck that. We're losing our resources, we're losing our safety and our security and all that. So one night Harold's dad just beats the dog shit out of Harold, like beats him nearly to death, whips him nearly to death, and then ties him up and drags him through the woods to where the townspeople of Little Meadowbrook, it's not a lot of people, like the number of townspeople can fit into a church. It's like a small town church. That's how many people live in Meadowbrook, and they're all standing at the Meadowbrook Springs, the same spring water that is used throughout every time period in this hotel. That spring water. And they're all standing there, and they're like telling Harold's dad, you're doing the right thing. I know it's hard, but you're doing the right thing. And Harold's like, no, don't do the right thing. Like, I'm your child. Because he can tell they're going to sacrifice him, essentially, is what they do. Is they start praying to the old gods, saying, we're sacrificing our last living child to you. Please keep our town safe. Da da da. And then they tie him up with like rocks tied to the ropes and throw him in the spring. And like, he sees them all as he's sinking, and one of the men that's there is Father Brown, I think was his name. Is he Father Brown or Father Bennett? I did not take the right notes for that. But Father Bennett is there. The same father that married Harold and Lisette is there. And he sees all these people as it fades to black. But then all of a sudden he realizes he's not drowning. He needs to breathe. But he's not dead. He's like, is this drowning? But he realizes that the water surface looks different now. There's like wood planks, and he sees a gap between one, and he swims toward it, and he can like breathe air. He's like, I'm still stuck underwater, but I can breathe right here. And so once he gets more breath into him and he's able to like calm down, he starts to think, and he's able to like push the wood planks away and pull himself up. And he's in the basement level of Meadowbrook in like the little Roman bathhouse in the basement, and he's just lying there like, what the fuck? But he cuts himself loose, but he has nowhere to go. He has no idea what the fuck just happened. And even if he could go back, he's like, why the fuck would I go back? He's pissed. He's not hurt. He's not sad. He's pissed. He's like, are you fucking them fucking son of a bitches sacrificed me? Like, he's mad. So he ends up going and hiding in the kitchen pantry, and that's how Helen finds him. And so for the next year, Helen and the girls, they take care of him. They bring him books to read, and he researches. He does so much research on Meadowbrook and how you time jump and like the safe ways to do it. Like he marks certain places where like, this is where you can jump. And if you jump here, you go here. If you jump here, you go here. He seals off certain places that jump you to dangerous places. That's like, even I don't go there kind of things. Like, this dude has notes and notes and research and like all types of, like, he put in the work for that year. And in that year, him and Lucy, one of the wayward girls who goes missing, they get really close. And so after a year, when Helen gets that news that the church isn't going to fund the hotel, that they're going to take the girls and go somewhere closer to town, Harold and Lucy, they have a plan that's going in motion. And Harold's like, are you sure you want to do this? And Lucy's like, yeah, I already know about the hotel. And so they have this whole plan thought out. They go back, and he's like, we have to be holding on to each other. As long as we're holding on to each other, we will jump to the same place. And they both write a symbol onto each other's forehead, the same symbol, and then they tie their hands together and they jump in the water. And when they come out, they're in the spring that he was initially thrown into. So he's looking around and he's like, yeah, this is it. This is it for sure. And so they go back to his house. They go to the church. And Percy's like, all right, you get the priest. I'll go do the other stuff. So Lucy goes off to do her thing. And he goes in, and like once he gets to the church, he goes into like the general goods store and like robs them, like fills up with all the shit that he needs. And then he gets to the church and sees the priest isn't there, Lucy's not there, so she's done her part. And so he rings the big bell to call everybody to town there, and they're like, oh shit, what are you doing here? And he's like, all of you can live if you give me my dad. And they were so quick to be like, here he is. And his dad's like, I'm so sorry, son, please forgive me, da-da-da. And Harold's like, all of you in the church, except you, Dad. And so they all go in the church, and his dad's just on his knees going, I'm so sorry, please forgive me, son, please. And Harold's like, nah, and like douses him in alcohol and then lights him on fire, but then pushes him into the church. Now, earlier, when he had first gone to the church before he rang the bell, he boarded up all the windows, all the doors, any means of escape, and like kind of put like alcohol around it so it would burn up. So he pushes his dad in and then boards the place, the door shut so they can't get out, and he sits there and watches the church burn down with the entire town in it, because that was his revenge. He'd been planning that for a while. He was like, I'm gonna fucking kill all of them. And so that's how Harold's part ends. And Harold's part is the actual end of the book, and then there's an epilogue. And so for the epilogue, we have people number 14 and 15, and it's Heather and Chad. Heather and Chad, and they're paranormal investigators. And they are going to an abandoned hotel. And so they're going to an abandoned hotel that they have been hearing rumors about people seeing ghosts there, people going missing there all the time, things like that. And they come across June and Percy, and it's 2019, sorry. So it's 2019 for them, and they come across June and Percy, and they're trying to tell them, like, don't go in there. Don't go. This place is bad. Don't go in there. But they're like, oh my God, this is perfect for the channel. Creepy people telling us not to go into the creepy hotel. This is amazing. And they go in there, and immediately shit goes bad. Chad immediately gets killed by fucking Tommy, I think it is, who pushes Chad down the fucking elevator well without the elevator being there, so he fucking falls to his death. Fucking Heather gets stuck with Olivia in a room, and Olivia's like, oh, I'm so sorry you're here, girl. Shit's been going real bad. Like, all the times are jumping together. Like, Olivia and fucking Michael are with each other. They're like, oh yeah, we saw Randall earlier. They're like, everybody's times are kind of starting to warp together because for something that Harold is doing is fucking everything up. And so everybody's running into each other when they shouldn't be, but they're all trying to like find a way to come together so that they can figure this shit out, basically. But then the room like shakes, and Heather ends up time traveling without Olivia, and it ends with Heather meeting Harold, and the hotel looks like brand new, freshly decorated hotel, and Harold just leans down and goes, hello, I'm Harold Dobby, and welcome to Meadowbrook. And that's how it ends. And personally, I really enjoyed the read. I thought it was really good. I feel like it could either have a prequel or a sequel. like a whole story about how Meadowbrook came to be and like how it ended up being a time travel-y place. And I feel like there could be a part 2 with all these people trying to figure out how to like stop Harold. Would be really interesting too. That's all I have for now. I have to rush my ending because my battery's about to die. But I think my next book review is either going to be the other half of the Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre, or another book, probably like a little novella for in between or something like that, depending on how far I get in Autumn Springs this week. That is all I have for you right now, though. I hope you guys have a good night and enjoyed this extremely chaotic review. Bye-bye.